In this podcast, I want to talk to you about nettle root extract. In my opinion, this is one of the most important herbal supplements, and a supplement that has really yet to get the notoriety and the fame that it rightfully deserves. It's one of my favorite supplements at the moment, and it's a product which I'm very excited to be able to share with you now and to tell you and educate you a bit more about what this herb can do and really what it has to offer. Now, this is an herb I've been experimenting with for quite a while now in my own life, doing testing and research and formulating and trying to figure out what will be the best extract and the best way to really deliver all the benefits that the nettle root can provide. So that's what we're going to talk about in this podcast. I'm going to get into the benefits of nettle root, what it can do for us, and then also get into a little bit about this particular extract, what it is, what makes it unique, and then obviously dosage and practical information about how to actually use it. So what we're talking about here is the root of the stinging nettle plant. In the extract that I've literally just released and just posted up on Hyperion is a 12-to-1 concentrated extract of nettle roots. Now 12-to-1 means there's been 12 pounds of fresh roots concentrated down into 1 pound of extract. That means we can take, half to 1 teaspoon and get a really significant and effective dosage of the active constituents to then experience the effects and benefits that nettle root can provide. And this particular extract is done in a way which uses more of a cold water extraction over a longer period of time to pull out both the water-soluble constituents and the oil or fat-soluble or alcohol-soluble constituents. So it's really a full-spectrum extract that is done in a way that doesn't really degrade any of the active constituents in the plant, but more so really pulls out the full spectrum, the full personality and profile that the nettle root has, meaning the water-soluble and the oil-soluble. Doing this without the use of harsh solvents or chemicals and really only using water. So for that reason, you'll notice the extract is very floral, it's very fragrant, has a very rich, full flavor, and it mixes with liquids and even just cold room temperature water quite well. So usually what I do is, since I quite enjoy the taste, I'll oftentimes just take a spoonful and put it in my mouth and then take a drink of water and just swish it around my mouth and sort of eat it. That's the way I do it. I'm kind of crazy. I love the way this stuff tastes, and I really like to really soak in the flavor. And that's oftentimes what I'll do. Otherwise, you can mix it with hot water, or mix it with juice or tea or coffee or in smoothies or elixirs. Really any beverage that you're into. You can even mix it with yogurt or things of that nature. Again, it's really soluble, really mixes quite well. And for me, I find that I quite enjoy the flavor and quite enjoy the taste. And as far as when to take it, I often will do it in the morning and then in the afternoon. And that just, for me, that's habitually when I'll take herbs or take supplements. So I just sort of fit it into that time slot. But energetically, it's not something that's going to be necessarily energizing or necessarily calming. Most of the time, it's pretty neutral in its effects. So people can take it really any time of the day or night and not necessarily notice any stimulation from that. So that is just a little bit about the particular extract and how concentrated it is, how it's extracted, and then a little bit of the dosage range. For me, I stick to half to 1 teaspoon twice a day. That's what I've done, and I feel that's comfortable because it's a pretty darn concentrated extract. It's, 12 pounds of whole herb down into 1 pound of extract. So then really when we're taking it, a half to 1 teaspoon twice a day is quite a sufficient dosage. So now that we understand those details, let's get into more of the benefits and the uses and applications for this herb. So in a general sense, I consider this herb to be really one of the best, if not the best herb for men to take, meaning an overall hormonal tonic, an overall tonic to the sexual and urinary systems in the body, in a way that's safe and balanced, and in a way that typically will not push us one direction or the other will not overstimulate us. Because many herbs that are, quote, for men or, quote, good for male sexual health, have a lot of side effects or downregulate our functionings after a while, or overstimulate us in some way, or cause our heart to beat fast or dry us out, or things of that nature. So what I'm referring to is things that men take for boosting testosterone. So things like tribulus, or maca, or deer antler, or Tongkat Ali, or really the list goes on and on and on. These are very common, very popular products that people take to, quote, boost testosterone. But what's the downside of those products usually is a handful of things. Number one, they don't work for everyone. They're pretty sparse in their effects, meaning one person could take it and experience a great thing. Many other people will take it and not experience anything. Number two, it can really be imbalancing and really be overstimulating. Because if we're already in an imbalanced state or a weakened state, taking something that's really aggressive and warming and very yang in its energetics, probably not always a good idea unless we clearly understand that that is specifically what we need. Thirdly, these things just tend to be stimulating in their action. They stimulate production of this, stimulate production of that, and really that's sort of all they can really offer us as far as a mode of action. So sure, we might get some benefits potentially in the short term, but oftentimes those benefits will fade over time. Meaning, if we've ever taken something like maca or tribulus, maybe you'll take it for 3 to 7 to 10 days and it'll feel great. And then after that, you don't notice anything, you don't feel anything. And it's sort of the down regulation or the fading of the effects that very often happens with those sorts of herbs and supplements. Which I'm not saying they're bad. They certainly have their place. They certainly help people. They certainly have effectiveness. More so what I'm saying is that if we're really looking for long-term solutions, things that are balanced and sustainable, the nettle root is a far superior option. Now, what I'm implying by this and what I'm getting at is that nettle root can naturally help us have more testosterone. Now, not just total testosterone, but the testosterone that's actually important and actually useful, which is free testosterone. So we can have all the testosterone in the world and really high total testosterone levels, but if our level of free testosterone or actually available testosterone is low, then we're going to have all the symptoms of low testosterone, which that's actually quite a common thing, especially in our modern world, especially with the plummeting testosterone levels in a global and social and cultural level, especially because of the plummeting level of sperm counts in male fertility, and the increase in infertility, the increase in erectile dysfunction, the increase in prostate cancer and prostate issues, and issues of the sexual and urinary system. Those things are all pretty widespread and rampant in our culture today. So getting back to the point, how nettle root can work and how nettle root can help us naturally have more free testosterone is that it doesn't just stimulate us to produce more. What it does is helps us get more out of what we already have. And it does this through a couple of different methods. Number one is through binding to a globulin called sex hormone binding globulin. Basically what this thing does is binds to free testosterone in the body and thereby makes it useless. So over time, our ability to bind to this hormone is naturally inhibited. If we are exposed to excess estrogens or our hormones start to get out of balance, then our ability is also going to be diminished. So for that reason, nettle root is really unique and really quite effective in that mode of action. Because what it can do is go in and bind right to that hormone binding globulin. So then that globulin is then unable to bind to our free testosterone, and then we are naturally getting more free testosterone out of what we already have. So we're not stimulating ourselves or overwarming ourselves or stimulating our organs or really jacking up a whole bunch of functions. No, we're just basically helping ourselves get more out of what we already have. So the second thing that nettle can do to help us have more testosterone is inhibit what is called aromatase. Now, aromatase is basically an enzyme that converts estrogen, or I'm sorry, it's a hormone that converts testosterone into estrogen, or it converts androgens into estrogens, which excess estrogen is again another widespread and prevalent problem in our culture right now, as far as sort of causing different kinds of cancers and tumors, and really causing a myriad of different health concerns. And to really substantiate that, it really just takes a couple minutes of research online to see the connection between excess estrogen and bad estrogens and the development of some sorts of tumors and cancers and really health imbalances. Now, obviously, everything I'm saying is not any sort of health claim or medical advice. Obviously, what I'm saying is just purely educational and purely just my point of view and my experience based on what I've read and researched in resources and materials which are widely available to anyone who chooses to look at them. So PubMed, Google Scholar, and various other resources that are available to anyone who feels like looking at it. So back to the point, we've already established that Nettle binds to sex hormone binding globulin, thereby allowing us to have more free testosterone. And then number two, it actually inhibits aromatase, which helps us convert less androgens into estrogens. So basically we get more free testosterone in our system, and then we don't convert that to estrogen as much, so we get more out of what we're already having. Which again makes far more sense in a sort of a long-term sustainable approach. And really, to me, illustrates why nettle root is a superior choice for male sexual health, male urinary system health, and really overall male tonification. Because those systems are really part and parcel with what it means to be a man, and really deeply connected to our source of youth and vitality. Because if we can look back at a time in our lives when we felt the greatest and we had the most energy, the most reserves, the greatest sexual prowess, the greatest healing capacity, athletic capacity, etc., it was very likely a time when our free testosterone was at the highest, meaning we were very likely a teenager or a very maybe late adolescent. And then we can think about times in life where maybe men don't have those things. And we can see the correlation between rising levels of sex hormone binding globulin and falling or plummeting levels of free testosterone. And again, both of those are very common issues that nearly all men face as they age. So if we want to remain young, remain youthful, and either maintain the sexual prowess that we have and or restore ourselves to a greater level of sexual health, then I think nettle root is honestly one of the best herbs for that. Because it binds to sex hormone binding globulin, it has anti-aromatase properties, thereby giving us more free testosterone, and for its effects on the male prostate and for the whole urinary bladder system. So a lot of research has been done indicating that nettle is quite effective for reducing BPH, which is benign prostatic hyperplasia, which basically means swelling of the prostate. So this is, again, a common thing that happens for men as they age, and also a common thing that really younger and younger men are experiencing because of the bombardment of xenoestrogens, or estrogens from the outside world, poor diet, stress. All these factors can really undermine our hormonal vitality and our hormonal vigor and reserves that we have. So for that reason, I really like nettle root for tonifying the health of the prostate and the urinary system. Because oftentimes when if our prostate is swollen, that's going to impinge the flow of urine through our urethra, which again is going to cause a manner of different problems. Frequent urination, incomplete elimination, having to wake up in the middle of the night and pee. All of these sorts of things are, again, quite common male problems. And I can definitely attest to these benefits from nettle root, meaning from taking it, I definitely have noticed that I have to pee less. I definitely haven't woken up and had to pee in the middle of the night for quite a long time now, and definitely have noticed increased pleasure and sensations from orgasm or from ejaculation, which again is a function of the prostate, which again ties into the sexual enhancement and really the overall sense of vigor and vitality that really ties into what it means to be a man. So being a man, we obviously want all of those things. We want more free testosterone. We want to have stronger erections, more frequent erections. We want to have, less urination. We don't want to have to wake up and pee in the middle of the night. We don't want to experience all of the symptoms that come along with low testosterone in a swollen prostate. So for me, I can personally attest to those benefits. And also one little tidbit that that'll tie in here and add in as kind of a side note is the connection between testosterone levels and the frequency of spontaneous erections in the middle of the night while we're sleeping, and then obviously the phenomena known as morning wood. And if you remember back to being a teenager, definitely had more spontaneous erections, definitely had erections throughout the night, and definitely woke up in the morning with an erection. And there's a connection between testosterone and androgen secretion and those erections. So one thing that I'm into, and one thing that I've picked up on over the last couple years, is really my barometer for sleep and how I judge my sleep quality is how many erections I have during the night and the quality of those erections. And if I wake up in the morning with a strong morning erection. When those things happen, I know that I slept well, I know that I was relaxed, and I know that my body was producing high levels of androgens. And I can definitely tell you there were times in my life where I did not experience those things. When I was a vegan and really into doing yoga and then into that sort of lifestyle, I did not experience those things. And it's been years of rebuilding and years of work to get myself back to a place that was actually as strong or stronger than I was when I was, a teenager, and those things were quite common. So definitely I can attest to those benefits and those effects from the nettle root. And again, that's why it's taken me so long to come out with a product, because I wanted to take it for myself for many months to see if all of these claims were true and to see how true they were and to see what the benefits and effects were. And definitely have seen them in my own life. For that reason, spent extra time and months developing and formulating extract, and then boom, that leads us to where we are right now. So that's why I'm so incredibly happy and excited about this herb and excited about what it can do for men, because I know these issues are so common from, number one, just doing research, just reading, just being culturally and socially aware, but also number two, consulting and coaching and working with a lot of clients one-on-one. I know these are pretty major issues. And then number three, just looking at research of just purely statistical origins and seeing how common these sorts of things are. So thus far we've learned that nettle root has a anti-inflammatory effect on the prostate and also increases orgasmic sensations and pleasure associated with that based on the health of the prostate. It also helps to reduce the symptoms of BPH. And also from there, learned how nettle root can help increase free testosterone and also inhibit aromatase, or inhibit the conversion of androgens to estrogens. So those are really the major things that nettle root can do, and really what makes it such a powerful and amazing herb. Why I really enjoy it, why I feel like it's very likely the quintessential male tonic herb, and why I'm really surprised that it hasn't gotten the notoriety and the fame that it rightfully deserves. Because everyone that I've talked to, like my friends in the herbal world that have taken nettle root, are all pretty well over the moon about it and love the effects. I'm experiencing the same thing, so I'm very excited for other people, hopefully you right now listening to this, to try it out and see what you think and see how it affects you and see how you benefit from it. And you've heard the different things that I've talked about and things that I've illustrated, so you have, some places to look and some things to pay attention to see if and how effectively it is working for you. Now, one thing that may come up is, is this herb only for men, or can women take it as well? Based on all of the research, it's mostly just on men. There hasn't been too much research on the effects for nettle root for women. That being said, I've seen and I've read some things where women have taken it and benefited from the sex hormone binding globulin effects, meaning the woman was converting too much androgen to estrogen, so her sex drive was being diminished and her body fat was increasing. She took nettle root for a while and then noticed that her sex drive started getting stronger and she started losing some body fat based on higher levels of free testosterone. Now, keep in mind, these hormones aren't good or bad. Men need estrogen and estrogens. Women need testosterone and other androgens. It's really more so about the balance between those two things. And it's not that one is better than the other. Again, it's about that proper balance, because too much testosterone is going to lead to negative effects, just like too low of testosterone would, and vice versa. So that's just one thing that I would mention. And honestly, I haven't talked to any women that have taken it, and I haven't seen that much information or that many research, or that much research indicating that women can take it. So that's really all I can say about that based on my experience and my understanding of it at this point. But in recap, we can understand that taking nettle root can very likely increase free testosterone levels, free DHT levels, making both more readily available for use. Secondly, it can help block the conversion of testosterone into estrogen. And third, it's great for prostate issues and has been shown to decrease nighttime urination frequency, improve urination power, help shrink enlarged prostate tissue. And from there, it's relatively inexpensive and works quite quickly and is pretty well balanced and pretty well tolerated by most people. And again, we can just take a second and think about the benefits of more free testosterone and think about how that can affect our ability to hold lean muscle mass, our ability to burn body fat, our ability to have greater sexual power, stronger erections, and stronger orgasms, but also stronger athletic power, stronger recovery, and all of the tertiary benefits associated with that. So hopefully this has given you a great introduction to nettle roots and why I'm really quite excited about it and quite happy to be sharing it with you right now. Again, it's a 12-to-1 concentrated extract. It's available in 4-ounce units, but also if you look on the site, I'm offering an 8-ounce discount and a 16-ounce discount. So basically, if you buy 2 pouches, which would be 8 ounces, you get a 10% discount, which saves $7. And then if you buy a pound, you save $28, which brings the price down to $112, which is a pretty darn good deal. And again, there's basically 57 dosages in one 4-ounce bag, so it can go quite a long way as a quite economical thing, especially for the benefits and especially for all of the amazing things that it does. So definitely check out the link below on this page. Check out the nettle root page. Order some. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you've enjoyed the podcast. I greatly appreciate you listening. Appreciate your support. I thank you for being a client on Hyperion Herbs, for supporting what I do, and for generally being all around pretty darn cool. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I look forward to talking to you soon.